we've got brand new details on the Doctor Doom movie that was being developed at Fox and the possibility of this movie coming over to the MCU after Avengers Endgame. Kevin Feige met with the writer and director, and I'm gonna break everything he said down.
Stay up to date about the nerdy things that you care about. Subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss the next episode.
Today's shout out goes to Cameron Brown. Yes, indeed, Brian Michael Bendis wrote Secret Invasion in Marvel Comics. We'll go ahead and do another nerd card question at the end of this video. Woo! Happy Wednesday to all of you nerds. I'm, of course, Josh. This is the Den of Nerds, and man, do we have a great episode, especially if you're a Doctor Doom fan.
But I am above all a reasonable man. Thus, I have granted your leaders 1 week to surrender to the rule of doom, or suffer total annihilation.
Yes, that's right. Today's show has all to do with the Doctor Doom movie and the possibility of that character coming into the MCU. And if you're like, wait, there's a Doctor Doom movie? Yeah. You didn't know about that? At San Diego Comic-Con in 2017, the creator of the show Legion, Noah Hawley, was on the Fox panel talking about that show, and he actually let it slip that he was developing a Doctor Doom movie. I remember when this happened, it was a big freaking deal. People absolutely love Noah Hawley for the Fargo show and the Legion show. He's just incredible with storytelling, and it was really cool that they were possibly gonna let this guy do a Doctor Doom movie. Love Noah Hawley, love Legion, love Doctor Doom. I was pumped. Now, obviously, with the Fox properties going back to Marvel Studios, a lot of the things that were in development over there are sort of in flux right now. From what we know, they're all on hold. And Noah Hawley recently spoke about this fact at South by Southwest to The Hollywood Reporter. In this interview, he lays out what his plans were for the film and whether or not the movie is actually still in development, and he details a meeting that he had with Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige. Hawley describes the meeting as basically Kevin Feige asking him if he's still working on the script, to which Noah Hawley responds, "Should I still be working on this script?" And then from there was no concrete answer given. Hawley jokes about Kevin Feige not sharing the 1,000-year Marvel plan with him, and I do want to come back to all of this, but guys, it is insane that Kevin Feige actually met with Noah Hawley and asked her about the script for the Doctor Doom movie. I'm going to explain why in just a second. Now, the way that Noah Hawley describes this Doctor Doom movie is pretty insane. Check this out. He describes it as more of a geopolitical thriller than a superhero movie. In the film, Doctor Doom would decide to put a dome over the city of Latveria, which is the fictional European kingdom that he has. He would then eventually invite a famous female journalist to come under the dome and see how Latveria was living and be sort of his voice to the world. In this example, the protagonist would be the journalist who would have no superpowers but would be experiencing Doctor Doom in Latveria and what was going on under there, and then having to report it to the rest of the world. Now, this sounds like a really interesting idea. I think it would really fit well within the wheelhouse of Noah Hawley and his visual style. I mean, the Doctor Doom character sees himself as a hero. He thinks what he's doing for Latveria is what's best for the world. And in our current world where, let's face it, things are just absolutely crazy, I'd love a story in which Doctor Doom was like, you know what, forget everybody else. We're doming over Latveria. Latveria is gonna be its own thing. I'm gonna show you what a perfect society could look like, and then I will invite this female journalist here to see what it's like. And I'm getting vibes of like what it's like in North Korea, where there's like this, fictional thing that's presented to the world. Maybe there's some dark secrets there. Seems really, really cool. All right, so let's get back to the Kevin Feige meeting and why this is such a big freaking deal and why it hints to the importance of Doctor Doom in the MCU. There's only one of two things that is going on here. Number one, Kevin Feige is meeting with all of the creatives at Fox with regards to all of the projects that they had planned out. Now, we know that development is on hold there, but naturally, Feige could be checking out how things are going, checking in with the creatives just to see what he wants to adopt into the MCU, how that might actually work, and figure out his roadmap for the Fox properties with the future of the Marvel movies. Number two, and the more interesting possibility to me, is that he specifically met with Noah Hawley because of the Doctor Doom character and because of Marvel Studios' plans for that character. Now follow me on this for a second. We know that the Russo brothers are very interested in Secret Wars. They have joked about this. They've actually even went as far as to say they are done with Marvel movies until they're called back for Secret Wars. So it's like super obvious that these guys want to do a Secret Wars movie. Also, as far as how you can tie in all of the Fox properties and how you can one-up Thanos and the Infinity Gauntlet storyline from the comics being adapted in, Infinity War and Endgame, Secret Wars and Doctor Doom is the solution. I mean, frankly, the Russo brothers have even said this. In the interviews where they tease Secret Wars, they talk about getting all of the Fox properties back. It seems like that is at least an idea that is on the table at Marvel Studios for how to integrate all of these properties together and create a ridiculously ambitious and awesome crossover, which would be the MCU Secret Wars. Now, in the most recent version of Secret Wars, which is written by Jonathan Hickman, Doctor Doom is a major player in that. In fact, he becomes a god of sorts and sort of pulls together all these different pieces of reality to create Battleworld. It's actually a benevolent act, and Doctor Doom is actually trying to save the multiverse, but that doesn't stop him from anointing himself as God and kind of doing what Doctor Doom does. It's a really crazy story, and it matches up with the MCU's plans in two significant ways. Number one, obviously because it's Secret Wars and the Russo brothers keep teasing that, but number two, because it is developed and written by Jonathan Hickman. Jonathan Hickman's stuff has been pulled into the MCU quite a bit, especially when it comes to Infinity War and what we think will happen in Endgame. This all leads me to believe that Doctor Doom might be very important to the future of the MCU, and even if all of the things that I just mentioned aren't exactly the reason why, you could simply point to his significance in the comic books. Doctor Doom is an incredibly important villain. He's multi-layered, he's dimensional, he's all of the things that Marvel seems to be interested in when storytelling with their future films. And so it just makes sense. Doctor Doom, very important to the MCU moving forward. I think that's why Kevin Feige met with Noah Hawley. Now, as far as what I would expect from a Noah Hawley Doctor Doom movie and whether or not he would actually do this film in the MCU, well, here's what I think. I think that Fox is really attached to Noah Hawley. He even mentions this in the South by Southwest interview, so he's not sure if he would even get the chance to go over and do anything with Disney, because they have even talked about maybe pitching him something for Disney Plus or something like that. Like, it came up in the interview and Noah's answer was, I don't know, Fox seems pretty attached to me. I also think that if he were to adapt this into the MCU, it would need to be changed and altered a little bit here. I really don't see the MCU doing a movie with a protagonist that doesn't have any powers. That does not mean that you can't follow that same pattern line. And again, when it comes to the visual style of Noah Hawley, I mean, the bottom line is his stuff is just visually crazy and it's really, really surreal. Reminds me a lot of David Lynch. And I think that would be reeled in by Marvel Studios. They're not just gonna let this guy make the kind of crazy stuff that we're used to seeing, but I would love to see his flavor adapted with the MCU formula and get this nice version of Doom with, the craziness of Noah Hawley, but like the consistency of Marvel movies. Now, again, I just want to reiterate how insane it is that Kevin Feige actually met with Noah Hawley and talked about the Doctor Doom script. To our knowledge, he's actually not talked to any of the other creatives when it comes to the X-Men. None of that stuff's being reported. As far as we know, he was waiting for the go-ahead date, which will be now March 20th. It is absolutely crazy that he met with Noah Hawley about this movie, and I'm not sure exactly what it means. We just speculated a little bit about how it could mean Doctor Doom is vastly important, but it's also possible that Feige has just been behind the scenes meeting with a lot of people at Fox, trying to figure out what comes next with the Marvel Cinematic version of these characters. So that's the news, and it's pretty crazy. I definitely want to know what you think about this. Let me know in the comment section below. Now let's check the nerd card on the way out of here. I want to know, who is the father of the main character in the FX show Legion? It's a famous X-Man, and the question remains, who is the father of the main character on the show Legion that Noah Hawley wrote and directed? And the question remains, who is the father of the main character on the show Legion, which of course was developed by Noah Hawley? Highly recommend that show if you haven't seen it. Like, seriously, it's really, really good. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.